Hello there, good people. It's your boy Johnny J, and welcome to the SIC Show rebooted. It's good to be here, Brent.
It's very good to be here.
Sorry, my main man B, my brother from another mother.
It's been many years.
It has been too long, man, but we've got a good reason to be back, and we're super excited to talk about it, aren't we, mate?
And this is going to be the Wild series.
The Wild series, the Wild Boys. Oh, it began in Africa.
And it's starting with the wild dogs.
Yeah, wild dogs, which I'm super excited about. And I'm going to do an edit on one of Brent's photos today, aren't I, mate?
Yeah, and then after the edit, I'm going to tell the story of how we chased these wild dogs on the back of vehicles and got these shots.
Epic, mate. Epic stuff.
Let's get into it.
Oh, the hairs on the back of my neck are just firing as we speak about it, mate. So we've got this beautiful wild dog portrait here of Brent, and I just love the shallow depth of field. I love the way he's looking across the screen, and there's a big thing you were telling me about the ears, mate, wasn't it?
The body language, when you're looking at predators like this, and any dog, I suppose. I mean, you can see what dog, when they got their ears back and they're like deflated, or when they're on. When
ears up.
If you come in to like family or whatever and you're walking in and the dog's got its ears forward like at you, like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah. The body language is huge. Yeah. Especially with the ears with these guys, like because they got such big ears in comparison to their head, their face. It's amazing. So I like this one. Johnny, we've gone through quite a few. Johnny liked this one. I liked it. So
yeah, let's go. The first thing I can see is exposure is perfect. I like what you've done with the exposure, because what actually jumps out to me, and we can have a look at what you're saying. So 1/1000th of the second, f 6.3 at 5000 ISO. But if you have a look how clean it is, you know. And this is the thing with these modern cameras these days, you can pump the ISO up and get clean images if your exposure's good. Yeah. And the other thing I noticed with the exposure too, you can see on the histogram, if you look up here on the top right, there's a lot of information in that light area, and it's really important to expose for your highlights, but it's okay to push up into that light area, because that area of the histogram, there's actually more information in the raw file than what there is in this bottom shadow area. So I love the exposure, mate. That was the other thing that drew me to this. Not only the beautiful composition, but it's exposed nicely. It's going to be an easy one to edit, really.
Yeah, and it's really important to shoot at a very fast shutter speed. I think I used 1/1000th of a second.
Yep.
On a 150 to 600 mil Sigma lens, and not the the most expensive lens out there.
Yep.
But it's worked. It's actually worked for like 6 years. It just died on me in the last few months.
Yeah.
I've got a different lens now, but so when you're photographing wild animals, fast shutter speed always.
Because the other thing is, you could be getting sharp images, and then all of a sudden the action happens, and that's obviously the action is what you're trying to capture. You know, those moments of intensity, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, you want the action.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You want to make sure your shutter speed's fast enough to capture that. So,
exactly.
I mean, we've all done it. I've done it. I've been photographing birds, like, oh yeah, look at these bird shots, and he takes off, and they're all blurry.
I know.
Yeah, good effort, Johnny.
And we're in a vehicle, which is moving.
Yes.
And you got people in the vehicle that are moving around. Yeah, so,
all right,
not easy.
All right, let's crack on. So, Lightroom has. Mate, in the last few years, Lightroom it's turned itself into ninja mode. Like the auto button in Lightroom now, it's just amazing. Like it gets everything started. If you don't know where to start with your edit, just start with the auto button. I love it. It's like cheat mode, man. I use it for every image I edit for national parks. Just today, edited 100 images in 45 minutes of this Aboriginal artwork.
Really?
Yeah, because of the auto button and be able to sync across things. So, yeah, look at the histogram, looks good. Now, the next thing I'm looking at is the white balance. So this is as shot at the moment. I feel like, to me, I like to get a bit of warmth. I'm a big fan of those warm tones. Not only that, you can see look at this beautiful light that's coming along here, rim light along the edge of the fur. I really love that. I want to bring that to life. You can set the white and black points as well. So if I hold down shift, double click whites, double click blacks. But the thing is with wildlife photography, sometimes you don't want to push the contrast that hard. So when you're setting the white and black point, all it's doing is Lightroom's going, there's room here in the blacks. I'm going to push that black slider over so there's no clipping. And it does the same in the whites. It pushes this white slider in the white area of the histogram over so there's no clipping, okay? So hold down shift, double click whites, double click blacks. So I always do that. But sometimes you do need to back it back. That happens. From there, I think we just go down and have a little look. I always like to go down here, and I always like to give it just a little bit of sharpening, because I'm going to start to do some localized adjustments, particularly around the fur and that. But I like to get my sharpening done quite early so I know roughly you know, how sharp things are going to be, because I'm starting to add like things like clarity or texture localized on my adjustments. I want to get my sharpening done before I do that. So that's something I always do.
Do you use a masking tool?
Yeah, I'm just about to talk about it. So hold down the option, drag the masking tool out. So another thing that's really important with photography, particularly when you start to get with like adjustments around sharpening and texture and contrast, is you don't want to be sharpening that beautiful bokeh background. I just want to add sharpening to this being the subject of the wild dog. So as I hold down the option key and drag the masking slider to the right, what it's doing, it's masking out all that bokeh background, okay? And the sharpening is only being affected on our main subject, which is just, it's absolutely awesome. The other thing too, an extra tip, particularly with contrast and things like that, when you're starting to add contrast, you often don't want to add contrast to your whole scene of landscape photography and stuff, because when you naturally look at a scene, things closer are more contrasty and have more texture. Things off in the distance are less contrasty and less texture, obviously. So when you're doing your edits, just be thinking about that, because that helps create depth through your scene as well. So cool, man. So I reckon we're good to go. So this is looking pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up here to the masking tool. And
before you do that, Johnny, just I saw you hit the little backslash thing. Button. Why are you doing that?
So yeah, back is before, after, before, after.
Okay, so I can see the warmth. Before there was a lot of blue in the grass behind there. Yeah, for sure. And in the fur. So all right, cool.
There is actually, before we go to localized adjustments, let's jump into color grading. So something I do just about every photograph, and I like to do it. You can do it in here, but there's no like mid-tone contrast adjustment. You can do it with the tone curve. You can do it, creating an S curve. And what that's basically doing, it's creating mid-tone contrast without affecting the blacks, without affecting the whites, okay? So, but what you can do it in Photoshop with luminosity masks and things like that, but we want to keep it simple, right? So what you can do down here, it's a bit of a hack actually. If you go in here, you can see as I pull this mid-tone area down, in the color grading area, it's actually adding a bit of mid-tone contrast without affecting the whites and without affecting the blacks. And if you look at my histogram at the top, you can see what it's doing. Look, Brent. So you look at the histogram in the middle. So it's pulling back that mid-tone area, which is the middle of the histogram here. So it adds like a mid-tone contrast. It's super cool. It's super cool.
I've never done that.
Yeah. Okay. And if you look before, after, before, after. So we haven't crushed the blacks. We haven't blown out the whites. We've just pulled back that mid-tone area. Yeah, super cool thing. So mid-tones in the color grading tab there. Cool. So that's looking pretty good. So there's a couple of things I'm looking at. I haven't really decided on the crop yet. I feel like there might be just a little bit too much breathing space, but I'm not too sure. So we might play around with that a little bit later. This is to me, is a distracting element, this guy here. So that's something I really want to take care of a bit later on as well. But let's do our localized adjustments. So let's go in here, let's select subject. Let's see how Lightroom goes. Lightroom, about 90% of the time, it pretty much nails it on the head. I really, really like what it does. So now we've got full control over our mask of our subject here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here to our clarity. And I like to zoom in a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to turn off the overlay for now. Because really what I'm looking for is the edges around here. Like these edges, we want to bring some, and clarity actually what that does, it does add a little bit of mid-tone contrast to your image, but not like that other slider we looked for. So I'm really looking for definition. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not like going like insane. I just want to bring it up a bit, okay? And this does two things. One is it brings the texture of that fur out amazingly. If we turn this mask on and off, you can see it's bringing the texture of that fur out amazingly. And you can go crazy with it, but I don't recommend you do that. Just be subtle. And I recommend that's like a good rule of thumb with any post-processing is you just want to keep it simple, but just little adjustments. Build on your adjustments. That's the best way to go about it. So I always love a little bit of clarity. You can even add a little bit of texture. So clarity is affecting those larger textures in your shot, and the texture is affecting the smaller details in your shot. So that's the way to think about it. So far, that's looking pretty good. If we zoom back out now, before, after, the other thing that's done as well, we've got shallow depth of field, but we're also building the texture of the foreground subject against the background. So it's also giving us more separation between our wild dog and the background.
So what's the difference between clarity and dehaze?
Dehaze is more for like pulling detail out of foggy scenes or scenes where you haven't got a whole lot of contrast and you're trying to bring some contrast back. Mostly fog scenes, that's what it's about, yeah. And sometimes with landscape photos, you'll actually add a little bit of dehaze. Like when I'm doing like the softening of a sunset, I'll often use reverse clarity and a little bit of dehaze, like reverse dehaze, and bring some of that atmosphere back into your frame. So anyway, not really relevant for this shot, but yeah.
Yeah, I noticed when shooting through a very long lens, often you need to use the dehaze just to get that, because there's a lot of atmosphere shooting through.
It is.
Especially with the 800mm that I've been shooting with recently.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that comes back to that. Things that are closer are more contrasty and more texture. Things that are off in the distance are softer. But if you're zooming in a long lens and picking something out in the distance, then that whole thing is going to be a little bit softer from the atmosphere that you're shooting through, which sometimes you want, particularly for landscapes. You want that atmosphere, right? So, yeah, cool. All right. So the next thing I like to do is I'm just going to grab a little radial filter. I'm just going to drop it on the eye here. Let's zoom in. I always like to start zoomed in with this, and I just want to bring a little bit more emphasis into the eye. As you know, for wildlife, birds, the eye is just such an important part. It's like window to the soul. So I'm going to bring up a little bit of shadow there, okay? And then I'll just bring a little bit of contrast so we're not pumping those shadows. And then if you find it needs a little bit more, sometimes I'll go to the whites as well. I think that's a little bit too much. Again, really, really subtle, but I always like to pull back out, okay? And then I'm going to turn that on and off. So let's just jump out of there. I always like to zoom back out and then have a look at my subject, because it's really easy to
overcook that one.
Overcook the eye. Yeah, really easy.
Big time.
Yeah, so
you can have like it looks like a ghost, like a zombie thing with the eyes glowing. And
yeah, that's right. But you can see how subtle that little extra bit of kick in that eye has done. It's really, really cool. All right, so let's have a look. So the other thing you can do, I feel like this shot doesn't need it, Brent, but you can go to a brush tool, okay? If I go up here and grab the plus button, grab a brush, and it's just like a bit of a bonus tip, okay? Sometimes when you've got backlit subjects, particularly with fur, one thing I love to do is just grab a nice big soft brush and I just paint along the edges. Like you can just paint along these edges. This isn't totally relevant for here because it's not totally backlit, but what it does, it just gives more definition around the edge of the fur. And it's a really cool tip for like around the edge of fur, around the edge of ears. Like I just you don't want to go too crazy.
Have you got the auto select going on?
Nah, I'm worried about it because I've got a nice soft brush. And again, because I'm doing such gentle adjustments, they're not too crazy, okay? I'm just going around the edges. So, but usually where that effect works best is where you've got things that are nice and backlit and you've got that nice rim. But anyway, just an extra tip there. Good. So far, so good, Brent. I think let's check out the before and after. So before, after.
Oh, wow.
Now, I said I wanted to come back to the crop because I still haven't decided. Like, I feel like maybe it needs to come down a little bit, but then the head's in the middle, but it's still got space on the left. I felt like we didn't need all that negative space. And now the eye is getting closer to the center, but the thing is, like, usually you would want the eye down here on a third like that, but the problem is you're cutting the legs off too far. And the way it's and you definitely don't want to cut the ears off, okay? But I'm thinking maybe just a little bit less off the front. It's really subtle, really, really subtle.
Yeah. Actually, I like how it's shoulder at the bottom there. On the bottom, it's kind of framing it from the right, the image.
Yeah, for sure.
So your eye comes in from the bottom left or maybe the bottom right and goes to its ear.
Looks good.
Don't know if this is a female or male.
Have a look.
But anyway.
Let's have a look here. So, yeah, I like to zoom in, just have a look around. I mean, the thing is with these photographs, if you capture them this clean in the field, then they're super easy to edit. The other thing I am seeing, and it might just be my eyes, and I'm just going to see, there's a bit of magenta in the background. And I'm finding those areas a little bit distracting, okay, just a little bit. So we can deal with those easy. So if I do a subject selection again, okay, and the tools in Lightroom now they're such a ninja thing. And I right-click this little bubble next to it and I go invert, it's going to give me the background, okay? And then all I want to do is I just want to see if I want to get rid of the magenta and go into the greens a little bit more in the background, okay? So the other thing that's doing is it's creating that little bit of separation, but I found the magentas just to be slightly distracting to my eye. Not overly. Like if you have a look, that's before, okay? And that's after, before, after. And I tend to like the green a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit too much. Super subtle adjustment. But again, it's just creating that separation between the foreground and the background and removing anything that I think is a little bit distracting. And those patches of magenta that were in these areas here, to my eye, were just pulling it away just a little bit.
Do you think the background's maybe too saturated?
Too saturated.
Like taking our eye away from your main subject?
Yeah, I mean, that's something, and that's something to take note of. When you use the auto button in Lightroom, it does crank up the saturation and vibrance.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on that. And sometimes it overcooks it, man. So if we go back to our background here, and then I'll go down here to the saturation slider, which I scrolled past before, I can pull that saturation out a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, because I think right now it's a bit of a distraction to the main subject.
So there's certain things that you can use to draw the eye. One is light, so exposure towards your subject. That's how you can lead the eye. Two is obviously color, and we've desaturated and also saturated the guy by using a bit of clarity and enhancing. So, and now there's texture. So then we've done that. We've enhanced the texture of our main subject and not the background.
Yeah.
Okay, and even with our sharpening,
and contrast.
And contrast. Yeah, that's the other thing. Contrast. Yeah, of course.
Our subject there's got lots of contrast with all those blacks.
Yeah,
you know?
And you notice I didn't add any other contrast.
Yeah.
I just used a bit of mids contrast. In fact, I don't think let's go back, let's see if Lightroom added a slight bit of contrast to the whole frame. So, which is fine. I don't mind that little bit of initial global contrast, but I don't like to use that contrast slider a whole lot just because it is a global contrast that's affecting everything.
Exactly.
So far so good. Before, after. I'm liking where we're at now. I just want to go down and play around with a vignette. So let's go in here to effects. I'm going to play around the vignette. So what I always say with a vignette is you can go a bit crazy like that, and then you can play around with your midpoint and play around with your roundness however you'd like to see it, and then pull the feather all the way out and then back your vignette off however you want it. And I'm a big fan of that, 14, 15 sort of thing like that. I sort of like my vignettes quite soft. I don't like them to be seen overly, I just like them to be just natural, and just help bring the eye towards the frame. And the other thing you can do is you can customize your vignette too. There's a number of ways to do it. You can do it with a radial filter. Sometimes I'll even go back, and I might do this for this frame, looking up here. I might go back and paint some of this highlight area even if I want to bring those edges down a bit more just with a brush. So we might look at that too.
And something I'm doing, Johny, right now, because I'm a little bit further, my glasses don't work.
Yeah.
But I'm squinting my eyes.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it to take away all the detail and just look at the blobs of color and light and luminosity. And I can see what you mean by the top a little bit above the ears. It seems a little light to me.
Yeah.
Because there's light down below his chin.
Well, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine. Yeah, but that top a little bit maybe. Oh, yeah, I see what you're doing.
So, that's what you can do with this big brush tool. So it's just basically just a big soft brush, and I've pulled back a little tiny bit exposure, but a lot of highlight there. And if you have a look, I'll just grab that layer on and off.
Can you make it a bit bigger?
I'll do it small like that, and let's see, because you're not going to see all the edge, but you can see again now that's sort of the area that the vignette hasn't pulled down, and I just feel like now we're starting to get somewhere with that background. Like we've desaturated it, now we've adjusted this area, so you can see. Actually, I need to open this panel, which is going to go over top.
Was that just the brush tool you used?
Yeah, just a brush tool and just a big soft brush. And you saw me zoom out, and that's because I just got the edge of the big soft brush. You can see I've got a big feathered brush here, and I'm just using the edge of it, painting along the edge, that nice soft adjustment. And I'm just using the edge of that brush, basically. Nice. And that's why I zoomed out.
Yeah.
All right, so Brent, I think we're getting close. There's the after, before, after. Nice contrast. I think we've got nice separation now. The last thing I wanted to have a look at, and let's see if Lightroom will do it. I want to get rid of this distracting element here. So I'm over here in the removal tool, and you can see I've got use AI generated done, and then I'll just make the tool a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to go ahead and just paint over this area. I just feel like that other dog back there is a little distracting, and let's just see how it goes here. I'm just going to hit the remove button now. Lightroom, you need to be online for this too, because Lightroom will go out to the internet to try and make this happen. And I'm having about 80% success rate with Lightroom these days with these sort of things, particularly with bokeh. That's looking pretty good. So if you have a look down the bottom here, it actually gives you 3 variations, which is cool. So we can scroll through those variations there. That's obviously not right.
Humpback.
Yeah, it's a humpback dog, which is not right. So yeah, like I said, it's not always. I think the number one's okay here. I'm going to close that, and then we can just zoom in and have a little look and see, because it is the bokeh area. It's all it's done a pretty good job. Look at that. It's done a real good job of bringing that fur all the way back.
Yeah.
We haven't got a humpback. The bokeh looks quite natural. So if we have a look at this now, if I hit Shift Tab and then I hit L for lights out, you can see press L twice, and then that's our final photograph. So there's the before and there's the after.
Wow.
Before, after. And I think that looks lovely.
Yeah.
Again, it's, we talked about a lot there and we went through a lot of things, but honestly, that's probably, a less than a 5-minute edit. Like because it's so well captured, Brent, and mate, beautiful shot.
No, thank you, Johnny.
That's
and thanks. I mean, every time I watch you edit, I learn stuff.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, well,
I
spend a lot of time in Lightroom, brother. Yeah,
I do too, but you're way ahead of me. So
I just spend so much time editing photographs. It's just Anyway, that's cool. So tell me about this story, mate. I want to finally hear about what actually happened, and then we've got something big to tell you guys about it.
Yeah,
so stick around for that.
This is in the Okavango Delta in Botswana in southern Africa, and we'd flown in on a little light plane and gone to our camp and freshened up and everything and gone out for our evening drive, the first one in the Delta.
Yeah.
And I was quite excited. I mean, I was super excited to get, and you're kind of figuring out which vehicles to get into, and you find your spot and everything, and they take us out. And within maybe half an hour, we come out and there's these wild dogs like laying there sleeping in the shade and that.
They're quite endangered, Brent, aren't they, too, these wild dogs?
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're not as, like, you see a giraffe,
No.
They're pretty
it's rare to see them.
Yes.
And a group this size, too. Because I think they get poisoned by farmers and that on the edges outside the national parks.
Yeah.
And they're probably, I know they're very territorial, too. So, and they hunt, like, every day, like sometimes twice a day. They've got to eat every day. They've got to kill every day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So the pack needs a kill every day to feed.
Because there's quite a few in this pack. We'll have to have a look at the images.
There's
but
so many.
Like, I don't know, like...
It's a big pack.
12, I don't know how many there were. I'll have to have a look. But anyway, we get there and I'm excited and trying to get... But there's no shot because they're all sleeping. They're all laying there sleeping.
Yeah, like a dog.
And then we're like, wait 15 minutes and nothing happens. And we're like, okay, should we go? Do we wait? And then the driver said, okay, hang on, we'll wait a bit. And then they start getting up and stretching and, like getting ready to run. They like sniff each other and they're like, biting, like kind of muzzling each other like dogs do. And then they just bolted. Like that one, I think, the matriarch or whatever, the head of the pack, like ears up and seen something. And made like a noise. And then within like a couple of seconds, all the dogs were up and they were off.
Wild dogs are chasing. Oh, where are they chasing?
Kudu.
Was it kudu? Or was it the water buck? The water bucks. Check them out.
And they are checking us out. Wow. And then we were off in our vehicles. And we were chasing them. I think we chased them for about an hour, like all the way to sunset. And they tried to kill, I think they chased a warthog. The other vehicle saw it, we didn't. Now, just think of it. There's no roads. Like, we're bundu bashing.
We're through bush bashing.
And it's the Delta, so there's, like, water everywhere, and we, like, through streams, and we jumping around, and we, like, it was, man, like, we were hunting them, and they were hunting something. It was, like, one of the things I'll never forget.
Yeah, and it's quite rare to see that. Like,
being on a hunt
anyway.
Being on a hunt.
But then see a dog pack hunt, that's
so
super rare.
Yeah, so, and there's a shot I got with the sun rays and the dust and coming through.
Yeah, I'll put that up.
Yeah. But, and that's the shot. I mean, I love that shot, but all I wanted was the dog to look back at me.
Yeah.
And our guide said...
Also, no whistling on the animals, right?
Whistling.
Whistling like impala.
No.
So,
don't make a noise. Like when you're photographing, you're not allowed to make a noise, not allowed to hit the side of the vehicle, whatever.
Cool.
And if I could have, and just tapped the side of the vehicle, it would have looked back at me.
You should have gone, come boy,
can't. And those are the rules. I mean, like you can't when they're on the hunt like that.
They're wild animals. Yeah.
But, man, I so wanted to. Because it would have looked at me and I would have got the shot, like with the rays and everything.
Man, you got some... some of these are beautiful.
Yeah, so well, the reason I'm telling that story is I got to go back again now to get that shot because I missed the shot. So that's the thing about wildlife photography. It's so challenging that there's always a shot that you haven't got that you need to go back for. So that's the story. I mean, it's amazing.
I love it. That's what makes me so excited about photography, because it's actually, the photographs are the byproduct of the experience and those memories that you create when you're doing something amazing like a safari, which is, by the way, is on my bucket list. Bucket list of things to do. Just amazing. Man, I just love it.
For sure. And this is 2 years ago, around this time that we were there. And it's like yesterday for me. Like when I see these images and we're like choosing one, and I'm just getting excited about.
I was just going to say, I can see the excitement in your eyes and on your face. Like No, that's awesome, mate, and beautiful images. And wow, what these are like once in a lifetime type shots to be able to get that pack of dogs.
Exactly.
And
should we tell them about the exciting thing that's going to happen?
Excited. Yeah, and I am super excited.
So Johnny's never been to Africa.
Never.
I grew up in Africa, and I've done 3 safaris from here in the last 6 years or 7 years or whatever. In between the pandemic. But we're going to go to Africa next year, Johnny and I.
2027.
And we're taking a few people, but we'll tell you about this in a couple of episodes' time. We'll open it up for those who want to come with us.
For sure. It's going to be amazing.
And we're going to go to this spot, the Delta, the Okavango Delta, right where these wild dogs
once in a lifetime for me, this trip. Yeah. This is, I'm so excited. I'm like, I had this amazing wildlife encounter, which I'll probably show some images in an up-and-coming episode just recently with a big wedge-tailed eagle, mate. Like just wildlife encounters, there's just something special and memorable that nothing else really gives you that same feeling. It's like that rawness and that power, especially if you've seen predators. Like,
well, maybe it's the hunters in us, but we're hunting we're shooting with a long lens.
Yeah.
It's the finding the animal, stalking it, or being with it, and then photographing it
and
connecting with it.
Yeah,
totally.
Just amazing, mate. All right, good people, that's it for this one. Stick around because there's more SIC Show rebooted to come.
Wild series.
The Wild Boys,
The Wild Boys.
It's going to be a really long title. SIC Show rebooted, The Wild Boys in Africa. Yeah.
And we should probably do a show where we kind of summarize what's happened between the last SIC Show
jeez, mate.
And this one.
So much. Jeez.
What's it been, 10 years?
It's going to be a long show. Yeah, it's going to be
Okay.
The update episode. I've got older. I've got greyer.
Me too.
It's arguably whether I've got wiser.
We've both got glasses now.
I've got eyes on. I've got my second pair of eyes. So, yeah.
But we're still here.
We are. We're still here and still loving it. Still, photography gets me out of bed every day. It gets me excited every time I think about it. So
I've started painting too.
It's amazing.
I've gotten even, more artist.
Yeah, it's it, mate.
And it's actually taught me a lot about photography.
Yeah.
Especially color theory. Oh, jeez.
I watched the old mate on YouTube, not Rick Ross, he's the rapper.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
Oh, yeah. With the fro.
Yeah, and like watching him paint those layers and build the light. I mean, there is something to that to help build on your composition skills. But anyway, that's for another time, mate.
No, cool.
All right, good people, that's it for this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, we're out.
Bye.
Peace.